Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Love me 2 times. Come on, come on, come on, come on, now touch me, babe. Hi there, YouTube audience, and welcome to the next episode on the Spin Nerd channel. And as you could guess, this episode is about an epic classic band from the 60s. Of course, we are talking about the magnificent band, The Doors. In this episode, I'm going to rank the 6 studio albums brought out from 1966 till 1970 with Jim Morrison as the lead vocalist on The Doors. Why am I not going to review the 2 albums that came after that? Well, because in my opinion, The Doors actually died along with Mr. Morrison down in Paris in that bathtub. So yeah, let's just start with the episode and do the 6 album ranking list. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, this episode will be about one of my favorite bands of all time. We're talking about The Doors, of course. And it's actually a band that I got to know pretty early on when I was like 16 years old, something like that. And it was around the time when a lot of the boys and girls from my age around that time were listening to a whole different kind of style of music, more like modern bands like, Arctic Monkeys, The Killers, Foo Fighters and stuff like that. And also, some other commercial poppy stuff as well, like the Black Eyed Peas and other shit like that. So yeah, but not me, folks. I was listening already to bands like the Beatles and the Doors and stuff like that. And actually, The Doors, I got to know this terrific band when I wandered around my local record store down in Bruges, Belgium, and I saw this cover, between the other albums in the store. I actually bought this album in the record store without knowing who The Doors really were and what kind of music these guys played. So I took this album along with me back home, and I played it back, and I was just like totally blown away. I now have the complete catalog, the 6 albums in my collection here. So I am going to start off immediately with the top 6 ranking list. Number 6 in the Doors album, in my personal Doors album ranking list, is an album, most of you guys, I guess, will rank a bit higher than I do. I never really had a sort of connection with this album as a total piece. I certainly like some of the songs on this album quite a lot, and I think there's one of the best tracks The Doors ever recorded also on this album. And I'm talking about, their 1968 album, Waiting for the Sun. Alright, Waiting for the Sun. Like I said, I never really had a connection with this album, but I like a lot of the songs. Hello, I Love You is a fine song. It's a bit too poppy for The Doors. It's a catchy hit single. Love Street is a beautiful song. Not to Touch the Earth is then again one of my personal Doors favorites of all time. I like the roughness and the darkness of this track. The Unknown Soldier is great song. Spanish Caravan is great. Yes, The River Knows is an absolute brilliant kind of ballad song, piano based as well. And then we have 5 to 1 as the closure song on this album. 5 to 1, I think this song got to be in my top 5 favorite Doors songs of all time. Just great track. So, to go on with the list, at the 5th place in my ranking list is, also an album that I never really had a sort of connection with as a one piece. I always had a bit of a kind of a love/hate relationship with this album. Yeah, this one is Morrison Hotel from 1969. Nice cover, isn't it? Morrison Hotel. Very good tracks on this as well. Roadhouse Blues, one of my favorite blues songs of all time. Waiting for the Sun is a great track. Peace Frog, great tune, great intro as well. Down da da, down da da, down da da. Great song. I think Nirvana took some inspiration from this intro for their song. Smells Like Teen Spirit. And then we have 2 tracks, Ship of Fools and Land Ho, that I'm not really interested in. I don't think these are 2 great songs. Queen of the Highway, terrific. Indian Summer doesn't really fit on this album. But yeah, Morrison Hotel. 4th album in the list is an album a lot of fans actually don't like that much. It's an album that, sort of presented a career switch, a genre switch for the Doors. It's the album where they're like experimented with, horns and strings and violins and stuff like that to create a more commercial sound. And a lot of diehard Doors fans actually stopped listening to the Doors after they put out this album. But I like it quite a lot. We're talking about The Soft Parade with, I think, the most beautiful Doors album cover on it. Very, very nice. So, some great tunes on this as well. Tell All the People, Touch Me, one of my favorite songs. I think this could be at number 3 of my favorite Doors songs of all time. Great vocals and instrumentation by these guys. Shaman's Blues, great song. Do It, I don't like Do It that much. Easy Ride, not a great song. Wild Child is great. Running Blue is a good, cool country song. Wishful Sinful, and of course the ending track, The Soft Parade, a magnificent Jim Morrison piece. I like this song quite a lot. It's something that they do a lot, put a sort of long song at the end of their album track list, like The End and When the Music's Over. On this album it's The Soft Parade, great tune. At the 3rd place in the ranking list is an album that I sometimes even put on number 2, when I'm in the mood for that. Because I actually love this album a lot. It's very dear to my heart. I listen to it mostly in sunny times of the year, like in spring or in summer. I like to put this album on. It creates that kind of atmosphere for me. We're talking about Strange Days from 1967. Love Me 2 Times is, my second favorite song on this album. It's a great blues tune, great organ section in the middle, great kind of hard, raw vocals by Jim again, the way we know his voice. Moonlight Drive, great song, one of the first poems Jim actually proposed or presented to Ray Manzarek in Venice on the beach. People Are Strange is a great song, and of course When the Music's Over, the long ending piece on this album. At the moment this is my favorite Doors song. When the Music's Over, great piece. Strange Days. And then the second album in the list is an album that most fans would rank at the highest, number 1 place in their ranking list. And sometimes it does for me as well. Sometimes, although, I think the last couple of years it's been on the 2nd place. I love this album a lot. It's their 1966 debut album, The Doors. And talking about very, very great, perfect debut albums, this is one of them. Great track list. You Break On Through to the Other Side is the song that really got me into the Doors. What a song. What an opener track. Soul Kitchen, great song. The Crystal Ship, great song. 20th Century Fox, great song.
Alabama song, great song. Light My Fire, great song. Backdoor Man, great song. I Looked at You, great. End of the Eye, great. Take It As It Comes, great.
The End, great, magnificent song. Shortly said, of course, all the songs, from start to end are great on this one. I would really recommend this album to people who are not really familiar with the Doors. And then my favorite album to talk about, my favorite Doors album for the last couple of years already. That is also their most bluesy album, you know, actually from beginning till end. This is actually a blues album as a piece. I absolutely adore it. It's LA Woman, of course, guys, as you could guess. And I also own this album in the 40th anniversary edition of LA Woman, brought out several years later than these 2006 remasters of the album. I actually prefer this one above this one because it sounds, you know, more rough than this one does. On these series of albums, all the songs are like sort of, you know, remastered in a way that's too clean for a band like The Doors. The Doors should you know, sound a little bit rougher, and this mix does it greatly, you know, great mix. Yeah, like I said, of course, this is for me The Doors' magnum opus, of course, and it was the last album, of course, Jim Morrison, you know, sounded on. And we have songs like The Changeling, which is great, Love Her Madly is great, Been Down So Long is great, Cars Is By My Window, great blues song, LA Woman, oh my god, LA Woman. I think this is my second favorite track of The Doors, you know, what a great song. And of course, Riders on the Storm as the long ending piece on this album, you know, great, ghostly, dreamy, and also a little bit of creepy. It is, for me, also the most dark, rough, dirty, rocky album The Doors ever made. You know, Jim's voice on this album is just, you know, it's so crackling, it's so... I think if you want to sound like Jim on this album, I think 3 bottles of whiskey and 10 packs of cigarettes a day are not enough, guys. It's not enough. Yeah, but this definitely is my number 1. So guys, this was my Doors ranking album list from 66 till 70. I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, I'm curious about your Doors ranking list. Please comment it below this episode. And of course, if you want to hear more music reviews and you know, want to talk more music in the next few weeks, well, just please subscribe my channel. Click this button over here and you will hear again from me soon. Goodbye, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye. Wait, guys. Something I forgot to mention in this episode is, of course, some honorable mentions from The Doors as well. Just quickly for people who actually really don't know this band and want to get to in them a little bit. What I would really recommend besides the studio albums are, of course, this compilation album that I got to know when I was 16 years old. The very best of The Doors. Great mix of tracks that really give you a perfect introduction in this band, this album. And then we have An American Prayer, Jim Morrison music by The Doors, is an album that The Doors brought out, I think, 1 or 2 years after Jim Morrison died. And they took some recordings of his that he made right before his death. He made some recordings of his poems that he spoke into the mic. And the other guys just put some music on top of that, and it really sounds, you know, it really sounds moody. It really sounds great. It's great to just lay back in a dark room and let this album take you to places you've actually never been before. If I may mention one live album that I actually really like and that I think gives you a perfect feeling of a concert by The Doors, that really gives you that sort of Doors live atmosphere, is The Doors live at the Ball 68. This one is actually a great live album by theirs. Jim Morrison sounds great. It's a perfect mix of hit singles and more like poetry kind of work. Yeah, you should really check this one out. And yeah, that brings me to the end of this episode. For real. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed it, and once again, see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and have a great weekend. Goodbye, guys. Goodbye.